Hi guys, Vindicator Jones here and welcome to my next video in the Fertile Lands series. Today I'm going to discuss the Class 4 Plasma Accelerator and how to use it more effectively in combat. Now, as with my other videos on the Fertile Lands, a good portion of this information could be applied to any ship you fly, not just the Fertile Lands. However, for the purposes of this video, I'm using the Fertile Lands as a base platform, as some of this information might not transfer directly towards other ships with huge hard points. Before we start, it's important to understand and be aware of the Class 4 PA limitations. Its most obvious drawback is power consumption, so you're most likely going to have to do some power management in order to make it fit right. Heat generation matches the hardpoint slot, it's huge. So is the power capacity drain each time you fire it. Projectile speed is rather slow, which means in a lot of circumstances you'll have to be at close range to fire it, until you've become more proficient in its use. It can also be very difficult to use effectively on smaller targets, and reload times after 5 shots can be frustratingly long. And lastly is its price. At around 13 million credits, it is certainly a big hit to the bank balance. But if you're committed, then I don't see this as too much of an issue. Seems like a lot of negatives, doesn't it? And that's why so many people give up on the weapon without giving it a good chance. Despite all of those issues, the Class 4 PA can be extremely devastating if used correctly. Here are some of its benefits. Plasma accelerators cause damage to both hull and shields equally. Hitting your target will also incur splash damage, so any subsystems that are close to the impact point will also take damage. This is great when trying to hit specific subsystems, as less accurate shots will still do lots of damage. The Class 4 PA has awesome range. Don't be fooled by that slow projectile. When fired correctly, it can hit a target that is very far away, especially if they're trying to make a run for it, which makes it great for taking out engines. And lastly, with 105 rounds of ammunition, you won't be heading back to space dock so often. Try and think of the Class 4 PA as a weapon of opportunity rather than a constant fire weapon. Try and avoid firing other weapons when using the Class 4 PA, as you want to save as much energy as possible for the PA. It will also help you control heat management. Your first shot of any fight should be from behind your target with the PA. In most cases, you will often be able to get off a second or third shot too. Try and always fire on your target while slightly above or below your target. This will present a larger surface area, which is much easier to hit. Also, I've noticed that with the Fertile Lance, if you line up the dot in the circle so it's slightly higher than center, you'll tend to hit targets a little more often, especially at ranges over 1 kilometer. Just remember that when you're very close to your target, under 150 meters, you'll have to aim the dot lower in the circle to counteract the weapon's hardpoint location. If you're running other energy weapons such as pulses, try and avoid using them at the same time as the Plasma Accelerator. Stop firing your energy weapons, give it half a second and then fire the PA. Wait another half second and then continue firing your energy weapons. This really helps to maintain maximum efficiency and manage heat levels. If you're using weapons like cannons or multi-cannons, then this is less of an issue. Knowing when to take shots is very important when you're first starting out, as this is where most commanders tend to give up the Class 4 PA due to missing most of the time and blaming the weapon. And this is what I mean when I say the Class 4 PA is a weapon of opportunity. Learning when to take shots will increase your learning curve and help you build your confidence while using the weapon. Once you have learned how the projectile behaves and the best times to fire, you can experiment with riskier shots and shooting from the hip. The best times to fire in the middle of combat are when A. the enemy is close and you're facing their bottom or top hull, B. when the enemy is coming out of a boost turn or attempting to reverse their turn, or C. when the enemy is running and is boosting in a straight line away from you. Avoid firing at the sides or the front unless you're coming at each other head to head and you know that you can take the shot. If your enemy is relatively close and have their top or bottom hull exposed to you, move the aim reticule for the Class 4 PA into position and ease off firing other weapons and take a shot. Immediately alter your position and heading to maintain your dominant position, as lifting your nose to fire the Class 4 PA can often put you into position to overshoot the target. Once in position, then start firing with other weapons. Repeat this cycle 1 or 2 times, then give your capacitor a chance to recharge. If you see your enemy coming out of a boost turn, or is preparing to reverse a turn, this is another great chance to take a shot. The best way to determine this is to use the aiming reticule for the Class 4 PA as an indicator of your target's directional momentum and speed. Try and position yourself so that you're facing the top or bottom hull, and wait until the reticule is about to come directly over the target and then take a shot. This is one of the best times to take a shot, as the enemy can't really maneuver to avoid the shot, and there is a slight pause as they come to a stop and accelerate. The target can sometimes barrel roll to avoid your shots, so be mindful of this. If your enemy is running away from you when boosting, put 3 pips into engines and the rest into weapons and chase your target. If your target is slow, then just put 2 pips into engines and the rest to weapons. Select the engines from the subsystems menu and line up your shots. Only use a Class 4 PA, as this will do much more damage at longer ranges and will preserve power for the Class 4 PA. If you have multi-cannons or cannons and you are still close to your target, then use those if your target shields are down instead. Then after 1 kilometer, switch to the Class 4 PA. Once the first engine is destroyed, move on to the second one. Even if you do not hit the module directly, the splash damage will do considerable damage anyway. Once you have started to master how the Class 4 PA works, you can move on to more complicated shots, such as firing from the hip and using the Class 4 PA on smaller targets. Just remember, be patient and initially take the time to line up your shots as best you can. Hopefully those tips will help you build confidence in using the Class 4 PA, and you can come to appreciate what a devastating weapon it can be in the right hands. Just give yourself some time to learn how to use it, and don't be put off if you don't get it right away. It took me a number of weeks before I found my rhythm. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and you have found it useful. If you have, as always, please hit that like button and subscribe. This is Vindicator Jones signing off. Have a great day, and I'll see you out there in the big black.